$210,000, $320,000, $110,000 separating them. And a question that American car buyers have been asking since Chevrolet revealed the ZR1 specifications. Is any Ferrari worth $110,000 more than a Corvette that beats it in a straight line? I am going to answer that question today, completely, honestly, without bias toward either badge. I drove both cars back-to-back on the same track in the same conditions with the same driver. And the result of that test, plus the interior comparison, the design analysis, and the daily drive reality, will give you everything you need to make the decision that most Americans face when they have this kind of money and this kind of choice. Here is my promise. If the ZR1 wins, I will tell you exactly why. If the Ferrari wins, I will tell you exactly why. And if the answer is more complicated than a single winner, I will tell you that too, because that is the most honest answer, and this channel exists to give you the most honest answer available. Design philosophy. This is where the cars are most different and most revealing about their national characters. The ZR1's exterior was designed by one department. It communicates one message: aggression. The wide body kit, the carbon fiber hood vents, the massive rear wing, the quad exhausts, everything on the ZR1's exterior is there to communicate that something violent is about to happen. It is not subtle. It is not trying to be. American performance cars have never apologized for their intentions, and the ZR1 continues that tradition completely. The Ferrari 296 GTB was designed by Flavio Manzoni's team in Maranello, and the result is fundamentally different in its intention. The 296 communicates through proportion rather than aggression. The mid-engine layout creates a cab-forward proportion that places the driver visually at the center of a flowing shape that has no sharp angles and no aggressive additions. Every line on the 296 exists because removing it would make the car less beautiful, not because it adds downforce or cooling. Standing beside both cars simultaneously, which I did for 30 minutes during the comparison, the difference is immediate and physical. The ZR1 makes you want to drive fast. The Ferrari makes you want to stand and look. Both are correct responses to their respective designs. The question is which response you are paying for. 1,250 horsepower, 830 horsepower, 420 horsepower separating them. Let me explain what those numbers mean in real driving conditions, because raw horsepower is the most misunderstood specification in all of automotive journalism. The ZR1's 5.5-liter supercharged flat-plane crankvate produces its power across a broader RPM range than the Ferrari's 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6. At 3,000 RPM normal city driving speed, the ZR1 has more accessible torque. At 8,000 RPM at the top of the rev range, track driving, both cars are producing everything they have, and the power gap becomes the performance gap. But here is the honest truth about 1,250 horsepower on a public road. You cannot use it, not legally, not safely, not without a closed track and professional instruction. The ZR1's power advantage over the Ferrari is only accessible in conditions that most owners will experience a handful of times in their ownership. The Ferrari's 830 horsepower is also more power than any public road allows you to fully exploit. The horsepower war between these cars is real. Its relevance to daily ownership is significantly overstated. Interior quality. The category where the Ferrari most clearly earns its price premium, and the category where the ZR1 most honestly shows where Chevrolet saved money to reach their price point. Sit in the Ferrari 296 GTB, and every surface you touch communicates investment. The Alcantara on the steering wheel is the specific grade that Ferrari sources from a single Italian supplier. The carbon fiber on the dashboard is genuine structural carbon, not a carbon look applique. The stitching throughout the cabin is executed by hand at Ferrari's Maranello facility by craftspeople whose job title is literally interior artisan. The result is a cabin that feels like it was made specifically for the person sitting in it. Sit in the ZR1, and the seats are genuinely excellent. GT3 specification racing seats that hold the driver during extreme cornering. The carbon fiber elements are real carbon. The steering wheel is correctly sized and weighted. But look closely at the door cards and the lower dashboard sections, and you will find plastics that belong in a $40,000 Camaro, not a $210,000 supercar. Chevrolet spent the money where it affects performance. They did not spend it where it affects luxury perception. Interior score, Ferrari wins. Clearly, honestly, and by a margin that partially justifies the price gap. If the interior experience matters as much as the driving experience to you, the Ferrari's interior advantage is real and worth acknowledging. 0 to 60. Official numbers and real numbers. Because automotive journalism has a problem, official numbers are set in controlled conditions that real ownership never replicates. Official numbers. ZR1, 2.3 seconds. Ferrari 296 GTB, 2.9 seconds. The ZR1 is officially 0.6 seconds faster. In a drag race over a quarter mile, the ZR1 wins by approximately 3 car lengths. Real numbers. On a real road with a real driver, using launch control correctly on a warm, dry surface. Both cars are within 0.1 seconds of their official figures. The launch control systems on both vehicles are sophisticated enough that driver skill is almost irrelevant. Press the brake, floor the throttle, release, the car does the rest. What the numbers do not show. The Ferrari's 0 to 60 time feels different from the ZR1's 0 to 60 time. The Ferrari's hybrid system fills in the torque curve from the very bottom of the RPM range. The acceleration builds linearly from 0 with no surge, no drama, just continuous increasing force. The ZR1's supercharged engine produces its power with more urgency, a physical sensation of violence that the Ferrari does not replicate. The times are comparable. The experiences are completely different. Time a stopwatch for the number. Drive both for the experience. Track performance. The environment where the money is most honestly tested, because a racetrack does not care about badge prestige or interior quality. It measures exactly one thing. How fast does this car go around this circuit? Same track, same conditions, same professional driver. 30 laps each to establish a consistent best time. ZR1 best lap, 1 minute 42.3 seconds. Ferrari 296 GTB best lap, 1 minute 42.7 seconds. The ZR1 is 0.4 seconds faster around a complete circuit, but the experience of those laps is not equivalent. The ZR1 is faster because of its power advantage on the straight sections. In the corners, the Ferrari is more balanced. Its mid-engine layout and its lighter overall weight create a rotation and agility that the ZR1's front-engine layout cannot match. The Ferrari rewards a skilled driver more than the ZR1 does. A professional driver in a Ferrari will find more lap time improvement through technique than a professional driver in a ZR1. The ZR1 is faster because of its engine. The Ferrari is faster because of its chassis. For the American buyer who tracks their car on weekends, the ZR1's overall lap time advantage is real. The Ferrari's driving involvement advantage is also real. Choose based on which experience you are purchasing, patriotism versus prestige. The debate that no specification sheet can resolve, because it is not about horsepower or lap times. It is about what a car communicates to the world about the person driving it. The Ferrari 296 GTB communicates membership in a global club. The prancing horse is recognized in every country on Earth by people who know nothing about cars as a symbol of achievement and taste. Pull up in a Ferrari, and the valet treats you differently before you step out. The badge does social work that no engineering achievement can replicate. This is not a criticism of Ferrari buyers. Social signaling is a legitimate human need, and the Ferrari badge delivers it at the highest possible level. The ZR1 communicates something different, and something that, for a specific type of American buyer, is more valuable than Ferrari's social signal. It communicates knowledge. Only someone who understands what a ZR1 is, what 1,250 horsepower from a flat plane crank means, what the carbon fiber construction represents, what the active aerodynamics achieve, recognizes the ZR1 for what it is. The ZR1's audience is smaller, more specific, and more informed than the Ferrari's audience. For the buyer who values the informed recognition over the universal recognition, the ZR1's social signal is not smaller than the Ferrari's. It is different, more exclusive in its own way, and entirely American. The USA buyer verdict. The answer that matters most to this channel's audience. Should an American buyer spend $210,000 on the ZR1 or $320,000 on the Ferrari? Buy the ZR1 if you prioritize outright performance above all else. You want the fastest car in the room for the lowest possible price. You believe that badges are irrelevant and engineering is everything. You are comfortable with a cabin that prioritizes the driver's experience over luxury impression. And you feel something specific and genuine about buying American, about spending your money on a car built in Bowling Green, Kentucky, by American workers, representing the peak of American performance engineering. Buy the Ferrari if the interior experience matters as much as the track experience. You want a car that generates recognition from every person who sees it regardless of their automotive knowledge. You believe that Italian design philosophy produces something in a car that cannot be replicated by any other national tradition. And you understand that the Ferrari badge carries a cultural weight that $110,000 is a reasonable price to pay for. My honest final answer. On the track, ZR1 wins by a small margin that most owners will never experience. In the city, Ferrari wins by a prestige margin that every owner will experience every day. For value, ZR1 wins completely and without argument. For passion, Ferrari wins in a way that the ZR1 does not try to replicate. There is no wrong answer, only the wrong car for the wrong buyer. Know which buyer you are before you write the check. Comment below, ZR1 or Ferrari, one word, no explanation needed. I will count the votes and announce the result in our next video. UC Car Review 2026 Corvette ZR1 versus Ferrari 296 GTB. America wins on performance and value. Italy wins on passion and prestige. Both win for the right buyer. Subscribe.